Hello, Simon. We're gonna wait for more people to join before we start.
Hello.
Hello.
Very welcome.
If you haven't already, please feel free to share your camera as well. Perfect. Oh, Simon, I remember you. You were in the first one. You didn't reach out regarding your website. I think you're muted now. You can unmute yourself at the bottom left.
There we go. Yeah, I've just been so busy. It's crazy. And
Yes,
I've
and let
had
us
a
help
couple of
you.
hospital appointments, so.
Yes, I'll send you another email and then we can set up a call to get your website up and running.
Thank you.
Yes, perfect. Okay, I think we can go ahead and get started, and then we record the session so we can always catch the other ones as well. I'm going to pass the mic over to you, Gabby.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to this last series from Win the Job series, our workshop to help you with your business. I'm Gabriela, and I'm part of the onboarding team here at Houzz Pro. So basically, I am part of the welcome team supporting you on how to learn to introduce Houzz Pro into your business and be more effective. And today, of course, we have Natalie, Saver, Jonathan, and Viviana with us if they want to introduce themselves as well.
Sure, I'll go ahead. I'm Saver. I'm part of the product support team, and today I will be taking you over the takeoff and the estimate.
Perfect. And I am the product support manager here at Houzz, so managing both UK and all the other European countries that we're serving. So yeah, Gabby, I think we can introduce the intention of today.
Perfect. So today's intention, what we want is, first of all, to add value to your business by discussing how you are quoting and look for ways to improve that crucial process of running your business, right? Today is all about how we quote. Then we also want to provide a space for networking. That means that you will be given the opportunity to interact with people that currently don't know you, and therefore you can decide how you want to present yourselves and practice being the person you are working to become on this industry. So following that same momentum, we really want to invite each one of you to share your ideas, to be generous on commenting in the text box, your knowledge, your experience, and your thoughts. In the end, we are all in here in the same team. We all want to run successful businesses, so your opinion absolutely matters. And finally, we want you to learn how to use Houzz Pro to support your business, and today in particular, how the TakeOff tool will help you in quoting for jobs and being more successful. Right, so if you have any questions during the session, feel free to pop a message in the text box or raise your hand. In today's agenda, we will first have a look at risk versus results. That means, what are the risks and results associated with a correct process of quoting, right? Then we will have a look, we will discuss how you are currently quoting and what would be an ideal quoting. How would that look like? Then we will have an analysis there about the brain's top 3 priorities, the way our brains are wired and how that offers opportunities and limitations when learning something new for your business. Then, of course, we will have Saver there help us do a very good demo on how to quote with Houzz Pro and how to use our takeoffs and estimates tool. And then we will discuss how you will be quoting now. So any new actions you might be taking or things you might do different after this session. And finally, our key takeaways and a short survey to help us improve.
Thank you so much. Alrighty, so we're gonna have a quick group exercise and we're gonna do it here today. And Simon, you can just unmute yourself if you want to shout it out loud rather than put it in the chat. So what's the value of quoting as accurately as possible, would you say? I think you are actually unmuted, so.
Yeah.
Yes. What would you say is the value of quoting as accurately as possible?
Just so you can keep your potential customer, as in the picture as possible. No sudden surprises.
Mm-hmm.
Directly in the construction industry, it's a nightmare at the moment. A lot of the time, you can only get 30-day quotes and things from your suppliers and things because things are just changing all the time, and obviously supply and cost, it's both the same. So if you can keep them as accurate as you can, then obviously it's better for yourself and for the potential client.
Yeah, perfect. And what would you say is the risk of underquoting the material cost needed?
Losing money.
Losing money, yeah, big one, right?
Yeah.
Because if you have underquoted and the client have signed up for a certain price, then they're going to hold that accountable to you, right? Same thing, what's the risk of overestimating material needed for a job when pricing up a job?
Not competitive, don't win the job.
Yeah, someone else take the job because you're too expensive, right? Hence, it's super important that we know how to calculate as accurately as possible so we stay competitive, but we also make sure that we're not losing money in the job. So when you're confident in quoting, what value do you think that this brings to your clients? When you know that you can stand behind the numbers that you're giving them, what value does this bring to you and your clients?
They have more confidence in you straight away because they can see that you're confident in the quote that you're giving over, and they can take that from yourself as well.
Yeah, exactly. Because you know how to defend the numbers that you're presenting to them because you have based them on facts, right? And not just a guesstimate. In terms of how you're quoting today, so how would you say that you're calculating the quantity of the material needed for a job? What is the current process? And here there is no right and wrong. So it's just the curiosity question. How are you currently calculating the material needed for the job?
I can say how I do it. Mine is just experience.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, paper and pencil and looking at the job.
Yeah. And that's something that we hear a lot from the clients, especially in the beginning when they start using Houzz Pro, that especially the one that have been in the industry for a long time, that are not relying on a software. They're just relying on their own experiences, like you said. But also, like you said, Simon, when it comes to the build industry, things are changing rapidly. So if you remember a price, it might not be the price that is accurate today, right? So with your current process, how long would you say it takes you to estimate the job based on the experiences? And then you said you're using pen and paper. So when you say you use pen and paper, how do you calculate the material needed?
I have some old tables. Working out cubic meters and things hasn't changed for an awful long time. So I have some tables that I use, obviously the sizes. I do a lot with, I have leased a lot of Hilti equipment, and I have one of their little PDAs actually that I can measure things with, and it takes a picture every time I take a measurement, which is quite helpful, and I can refer back to that. But it's a minimum of sort of like at least 2, maybe 3 days to create sort of like a full quote.
Yeah.
As detailed as a lot of clients want.
So when you calculate this over the scope of 3 days, do you say that you calculate it, you write it down on a piece of pen and paper, and then you have to add everything up with your calculator, or how does it work?
Yeah, everything manually by hand and calculator. And if I'm not there or if I'm doing something else, then generally it doesn't get done. Some of the lads below me aren't quite. They can do it, but they don't want to sort of like necessarily risk the fact that they're going to put the right information in. Yeah.
And have you ever had the scenario where you have miscalculated something?
Yeah, especially with groundworks, because a lot of the time with groundworks, obviously it's how long's a piece of string. Getting out of the ground is the most difficult bit of construction. Yeah.
Okay.
And expensive.
It can be expensive. Yeah, for sure. So what would you say is the best thing of your current process, even though sometimes it can be expensive?
Reliable. I know it works.
You know how it works? It's reliable for you. Yeah. What else? Simon, what would you say is the best thing with your current process?
For me, it's just a familiar process that obviously I just go back to, and I can just do.
It's familiar. You know how exactly what to expect from yourself. You know what the outcome will be, right? Yeah. And that is very much the way that the brain works, and we will speak about that in a little bit. If there was an ideal way of quoting, what do you think that you could improve with your current way of doing the quotation when you calculate the material needed? Can you see anything in your current process that can be improved?
For me, I'm virtually doing it twice, because I'm sort of like doing it by hand on paper the first time, and then I'm having to either pass it over to my PA or type it up myself and formulate it in a more professional way. A lot of clients expect years ago when I started, people weren't that bothered at your handwritten quote, but now people expect a more professional looking sort of like document.
And just a question, Simon, you said you had guys working underneath you. Is that your site foreman, or who is that could possibly help you with the quoting process?
Yeah, I mean, I have 5 or 6 guys that sort of like look after some of the sites that I'm working on, but they generally are looking after those sites. So it's difficult. I find it really difficult, this skills crossing and getting some of the older guys especially to get involved and learn new skills, be prepared to learn new skills. I paid an awful lot for sort of like some online training and things for some guys, and they just haven't done it. It's crazy. So,
why do you think they haven't done it?
A lot of them are just sort of like set in their ways, and they just, I've been doing it for so long, I don't need to sort of like change and things like that, which is crazy, especially the last 3 years have proved that, especially in the UK, not just COVID, we've had all sorts of problems. But
would you say that it's the same for you, holding tightly onto the pen and paper process?
Some of it is. I'm talking to you on a MacBook Pro M1 and I've
Yeah.
got a Mac Studio in there with AutoCAD and all sorts of things. I can do them, but
Yeah.
sometimes it's just quicker for me to
Of course, because it's
do it the way
familiar,
that
like
I
you
know.
said, right?
Yeah,
And there is no right and wrong, but it's good to understand the way that the brain works. It likes safety, it likes what's familiar, right? Because that's what you know, and that's where you are the master. None of us like to be the new beginner.
yeah,
Frustrating, right?
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So what do you think is stopping you from improving your quotation process today? What's stopping you from doing the work that your PA is currently doing?
Yeah, for me, a little bit of it is obviously sort of like time and necessarily trying to be too controlling. You know, it's my business at the end of the day. I don't work for a big sort of like, national building company or anything.
So time is one. What else?
It's me.
What's preventing you from improving your quotation process? Maybe willingness of let go of what you're really good at.
Yeah.
Yeah. Again, being a new beginner, introducing technology, which sometimes is clunky when you're not familiar with it, right?
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely for me. Sometimes it's just learning, newer technologies, and it's quite as easy as it used to be a few years ago.
Yeah, there's a lot of call to actions today. So in terms of the way that the brain works, and I thought that this would be interesting to bring in here, we have 3 top priorities. Number 1, avoid pain, staying safe. With this, what we mean is holding on to what we know, what's familiar, my old process, avoiding pain in terms of being a new beginner, right? Trying something new. The second one is to conserve energy, doing what feels as the minimum effort. Some of you were mentioning earlier that your current way is the easiest one for you because you know this one inside out, right? You know what to expect. Learning something new, the brain right away go like, oh, that's a lot of effort. It's going to take a lot of time. No. And then you build up that resistance right away. Same thing with seeking pleasure. So we want to have the instant gratification. I don't want to invest time in order to learn something. I just want to get it done right away. And I know by using my old way of working, I can get it done right away, instant gratification. So this is the way that the brain works. And this is why we're so reluctant to change. So I just want this to sink in a little bit, that you now know that your brain is working like a normal human brain. It's trying to keep you safe, it's trying to minimize the effort, and it's trying to seek that instant gratification. However, this behavior does not allow you to grow and does not allow you to evolve into the next level where you actually can free up time when once you have learned it, it will require less effort than what you're currently doing. And you will be able to get that gratification, even though it's in the beginning, a delayed gratification. So I just want you to be a little bit open that it might be a new way of doing the old way of working in a more effective manner. So if we are looking at the brain's top priorities in terms of preventing you from going after your goals, how do you think that staying safe prevents you? So to not have to be a new beginner, for example, not need to go through the irritation that it might be whenever you don't understand technology, right? What else? And this is in change in general. So this is a question for the floor for everyone. You can just unmute yourself. How do
There's
you think that your
also-
brains, yeah.
There's also like having to open yourself to ask for help, because you're gonna find yourself in an unfamiliar ground. So yeah, that's also a factor that your brain automatically puts in when you're thinking about doing something new.
So why do you think asking for help is like painful for the human?
Because we like to be independent and
Yeah.
owning our time, and having to go through that brief stage of learning where you need someone else to support you.
Exactly. Yeah.
It makes you feel like it's not as nice as when you've already gone through that and you
Yeah.
are master of of
You
the
want to be able
new
to feel
system.
proud, right? You want to be able to feel like I can do this. And when you need to rely on someone else, sometimes that's painful for the human brain. What would you say in terms of the instant gratification? Why is the brain's wire for instant gratification preventing us from reaching our goals sometimes?
I think it's only natural to want to avoid pain and just do what makes us feel relief instantly, even if we know that in the long run it might cost us more, it might be less efficient. And
can you think about an example where the instant gratification will have a high cost to pay later on?
well, I've heard that from a lot of professionals that they receive a lead via email. And if it sounds really like a really good job, sometimes they feel so anxious for replying that instead of building a nice reply, they just text back something quickly. It might go out with a typo, it might go out not nicely presented, and that made them feel instant relief. Okay, I've connected with this lead, I might win it. But then on a second thought, they could have prepared a better email template, uploaded that document PDF with a presentation, and made a better impression.
Yeah, same thing. I mean, the instant gratification, we were talking about this with holding on to what we know, right? Instant gratification is you get the job done. The long-term cost is that you're not evolving, you're not becoming more effective in doing business. And in the long run, you're actually losing time because you have not learned a faster, more accurate way of doing the job. In terms of minimum effort, how is this preventing us from going after the goals?
Learning new skills often takes you to put more effort into, learning those skills. But then when you look at it in the long run, you can do more, or more efficient, or have a better or more pleasing.
Yeah, and like you said, in the beginning, it takes effort. However, when that effort has been invested, then you're back to like no much effort is needed, right?
Yeah.
So it's just like an uphill first, but then it's plateau again. But the brain is like really resistant to even like go uphill, even though like the plateau later on will be higher up than where we are right now. So again, your brain works like a normal brain, but just try to challenge your brain a little bit today. Okay, we're gonna move on to Savor.
Yes, thank you so much, Natalie. So first I want to talk about the things I'm about to take you through. So first I'm going to show you how to upload files to TakeOff. And then we're going to measure those files to calculate the material requirements. And then we're going to combine those measurements we took on TakeOff and use them on estimates. So I'm just going to go ahead and share my screen. Okay, so this is now the Houzz Pro dashboard. and I'm sure you're already familiar with it. But here on the right, we have the takeoff, and we can click on this button that says create a takeoff. And then we can either assign the takeoff to a new lead or a new project. But I have already opened a project that I'm going to assign it to. So that's this one right here. And then I'm going to click on create. So now I'm being prompted to upload files. Now, the best way I can do that is I can either open this up, and then I can just upload them. I can also just drag and drop, which is what we're going to do now. And that's because I want to show you how to change JPEG files to PDF documents. So as you can see here, you can only upload PDF files. And Simon, I think as you mentioned, you are using a MacBook as well. So this is how you do it on a Mac. You just open up the image.
Before we go there, Xavier, what is a JPEG and what is a PDF?
So a JPEG is a image file, like a PNG, and a PDF is a portable document file, and that is, I think, a uniform file that is used to easily transport files.
Can you show us how we can tell if it is a JPEG or a PDF?
Yes, so right here we can see that these two are JPEG images and this one is a PDF document. And also here you can choose to actually see the kind or not. Yeah.
So if we just stop here, does that make sense, Simon?
Yep.
Perfect.
Also by the file extension sometimes, but this is not always.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, so what I did is I open up the image, and then on Mac, you will automatically open on preview. So I just need to go here on the top left, click on File, and then export as a PDF. And then we're just going to click on Save. And then we're going to use the PDF extension. I have, however, already created this file, so I'm not going to do it again. So I'm just going to click on Cancel. But as soon as you click on PDF, it would have exported this image file as a PDF document. So now what I can do is I can just click this PDF document and just drag it over here into the window. And you can see the bar is green, which means it has been uploaded. And now I can just click on Create and Continue. And now the takeoff has been opened up. And now you can see it's loading both image files. So the first thing I want to do is I want to scale the file. And we're going to do that by going down here where it says Find Scale. Sorry, let me just zoom in real quick. So you can see that this line, right here, represents 2 meters. So now we can click on Find Scale. And now what we're going to do, we're going to click on this end. Then we're going to drag this line all the way to the other end. So we're going to confirm with a double click. And then we can input the length of that line, which is 2 meters. And then as you can see right here on the bottom left, right now the page scale is 1 to 100. And as soon as I click on Set Scale, it would have changed to 1 to 61. Now it's just asking me if I want to apply the scale to all previous measurements. We have not done any yet, but it's good to know that if you forget to do this step, you can do it at any point of your measuring process. So I'm just going to click on Yes. I'm just going to zoom out. And now for the next page, we see here, you will see you have to individually adjust the scale for each individual page. But right now we can just take it from here, 1 to 61. We can just type it in here. Yes, again. So now both pages will be to scale.
One question, Simon, when you do your calculations, you usually have a floor plan that you work on, kind of like this?
Yeah.
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 Perfect.
Yeah. So now the next step is to show you how we actually measure this. And this is also super easy. This will just take a couple of minutes. So say, for example, that we want to install a floor on the kitchen and say, just for demonstration purposes, so we also want to install it on the bedroom. So we can do this by clicking on the rectangle, and then we can create a group. Now, what the group does is it takes the two floors that we're going to measure right now, and it's going to add their measurement into just one single measurement, really. So I'm just going to click on create new group, and I'm just going to call it floor. I'm going to click on create group. And now I have selected the rectangle tool already. I'm going to go on this corner and I'm going to drag it all the way over here. Now I can go all the way up to here and that will be fine, but I can also just move it, over here. And that measurement is now saved over here, as you can see. However, we don't want to measure this bit, because this is a wall, or here this is a closet. So we can use the deduct tool to remove this from the measurement. And again, I just click on this corner and I just drag it over here. And as you can see, this has reduced. And again, over here. Again, so now you have really just calculated the area where you actually just need to install the floor. And now I'm going to do the same thing in the bedroom, but I can use another tool, and that is the polygon tool. And with this tool, first I'm going to add this to the group, to the floor group. And again, I'm just going to click on this corner and I'm just going to trace this all along the bedroom. And then once I'm at the start again, I'm just going to double click to confirm. And you can see here we have both measurements in square meters, and here we have the sum of both these measurements. And this is really great for calculating how much floor you need if you want to use the floor, for example, in multiple rooms in one property.
Question here. I can see that we have rectangle 1, polygon 2.
Yes.
Is there any way that we can rename them?
Yes, exactly. So as you can see, when I hover over it, it will highlight which measurement it is. So I can just rename this to kitchen, and then I can just rename this to bedroom. Yeah.
And what would be the benefit of adding the names there?
I think it will be, number one, it would be for organizational purposes, so you don't get lost, because when you're working on a project, especially a big project, for example, you will have a lot of measurements. And I think it's just good practice to name each measurement you're taking. Yeah. Okay. Next tool that I'm going to show you is the length tool. And we can use this tool for multiple purposes. One of them would be, say we want to install a skirt board, all around here. And again, we would just trace it all along the perimeter. And say we just want it up to here. I'm going to again double click to confirm. And you can see here, it has just calculated the length of this. I'm just going to call it skirting board. However, if we go into this little icon, we can add a height to the measurement. And this is perfect if you want to calculate the areas of a wall. Say if you want to paint it, or if you want to put some wallpaper in, this is perfect to just calculate the area of the wall to know how much material you will need. So I know that here the height of the wall is 2.5 meters. As you can see up here, we have the length. And then here we have the square meters. So I'm just going to go ahead and click on done. And as you can see, it's saved here in square meters. Then the next thing we can also do with the rectangle is
question here before you move on. So you were talking about that we have the measurement for the skirting board and how we now can use this measurement for the paint, for example, needed for the walls. So can I duplicate that measurement quickly?
Yes, of course. My apologies. I should have done that before, but you can duplicate it. And then I should have done that before, but I can also just remove the height of this. Then we have really one for the skirting board, and then we have one for, say, the wallpaper. Yeah. Thank you, Natalie. And then going back to the rectangle, we can use the rectangle tool to also calculate volume. So say we want to add a little step over here. So again, I'm going to just click on the corner and drag it all around here. I'm just going to call this elevation, for example, or just step, enter. And then here, we will again add the height, say it has to just be 20 centimeters in height. And then again, you can see here the area in square meters, and then you can see down here the volume. And again, save right there. And then the next tool is the count tool. And we can use this, say you want to install new doors, new handles, you can use this to count how many you will need for the project. But now say I want to install recessed lighting. So again, I will just create on the count tool. I will create a new count. I'm going to name it lighting. I'm going to click on new count. And now I can just start counting. So I want 4 new lights over here. And then I want 2 more here, another 2 here, and say 6 in the kitchen. And you can see it will be saved right here, 14 counts under lighting. But this is obviously how you can measure a 2D floor plan, but you're also able to measure a side view as well. And again, we're just going to assume we want to say paint this facade of the house, and we can use the polygon tool for that. And we're just going to trace all around the perimeter of it. I just click and then I drag the line to the next point until I have traced all the perimeter. And then when I'm back at the start, again, just double click. But now we see we have also measured the windows. So we have actually measured all this red area, but we don't want to paint over the windows. So we can again use the deduct tool to remove the measurement of these windows. And again, just click on the corner, drag it along. And you can see it has been reduced. The measurement has been reduced. Oh, my apologies. And we can just click on undo. If we make a mistake, that's no problem. We can just go back. And there we go. And that's really all there is to the takeoff feature. You can see, I think, Simon, you mentioned it takes you 2 or 3 days to make measurements, but really with takeoff, it takes a matter of minutes.
2 or 3 minutes.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, so this can really be a great time saver for you. Yeah, so
we pause there and just check in with the audience. Simon, number 1, how is your brain reacting to the information being shared?
In the bigger jobs that I do, obviously I pass some of this out to external agents, but obviously then it's difficult because sometimes the files that they're giving you aren't compatible with what you're doing, or you've got to try and understand them and things. So, but this would be sort of like, yeah, this is
how
really,
could this be helpful for you?
really easy to use, and obviously to create obviously the images, and then you've got the
if we go back to the first image saver,
yeah, you've got the images, and then obviously you can define the areas which will then obviously substantiate some of the information that you're putting in your quotes and things, so you can include some of them on. Obviously all your measurements are going to be much more accurate because they're literally off the plans and things, rather than necessarily me working them out with a
pen and paper,
a rule.
Yeah. And also, like you were saying, like sometimes it's a cost risk involved as well, right? When you're having everything on pen and paper versus here, where you quick and easy can see which dimension you have measured already, which one you have calculated, and which one you have left out.
And much easier as well to sort of like cascade to staff as well, the information, because it's easy for them to see and things, whereas obviously potentially sort of like some of the agency staff that I have, they don't necessarily know the way that I'm working, and the information that I'm giving to them sometimes has to be explained by other people. So
yeah
good.
Amazing.
And just to kind of add in there, I think what I find with a lot of contractors is that when they're doing the takeoff themselves, you're mentally prepping for the job. So it's a much kind of better way for you to understand what's being asked of you. If you do outsource that to a QS, you're just getting data back, and it's kind of like it can take you just as long to read it and to understand the job itself. Whereas if you're doing it yourself, you're saving on that QS fee, but you're also much better understanding, okay, this is going to take my guys 2 weeks, and to be able to price that labor component.
Yeah.
So now that I have taken the measurements, I can actually do one of two things. I can just click here on review and estimate, and this will take me all the way. This will take all these measurements and create an estimate that you can just send to your client. But there's also another way that a lot of our pros use, and that is what I'm about to show you. So first, I'm gonna click on Command on my Mac, and then I'm gonna click on the Houzz Pro logo, and that will open up a new tab, and we'll be back at the dashboard. Now we're gonna open the project that I'm currently working on, which is this one over here. And I'm gonna go into estimates, and I'm gonna click on create on new estimate, and I'm gonna create one from a template. And I'm gonna select this template.
And when you create a template saver, what is the benefits of having one?
Yes, I was just going to get to that. When you create a template, what you do is basically you pre-populate it with certain items that you will use over and over again. So instead of creating a new template from scratch the next time, you already have it saved, and then you would just load all those items by choosing the template. As you can see here, we have, for example, the floor and the padding and the paint base. So these are things you will need one measurement for, but you don't necessarily have to do two measurements on takeoff.
Mm-hmm. So I think, like you were saying earlier, Sam, as well, like it will require a bit of effort to build the template up front, but once it's there,
yeah.
And then you can reuse it as many times as you wish, right? So in the long run, you're actually minimizing the effort, even though it is an effort required in the beginning.
Exactly, yeah. And you can also create as many templates you want, depending on the job you're working on. Yeah. So now what you can do is you can just, for example, click the floor, like select the area of the floor, and you can just copy and paste. You can use Command and C, or you can also right click and copy, and then you can paste it right over here, here as well. And you can also adjust the price per square meter here, and you can see would have automatically calculated that right here. And you can also do the same for the wallpaper, for example. Oops. Yeah, it says paint on, but again, I can just edit that really quickly, and then we can change this to glue. And let's just paste it. I'm just clicking now Command and V, and that will just paste it automatically. And that's pretty much it. You can also annotate most of these line items here. You can change from square meter to square feet or cubic meter as well. So you have really a lot of options here. And then once you are done with the estimate, once you're happy with it, when it's ready to be sent out to a client, you can click on preview and share. And this is a preview of what the client will look at once he or she receives that estimates.
Is this something that we can customize as well?
Yes, if we go here under settings, you have really a a lot of options to customize it. You can show, for example, the price per category. You can show the detailed breakdown as well. Yeah, you can also show more details about the items.
So if I'm interested in showing the quantity, but not necessarily the price per item.
So you would just click here, and then it wouldn't show the detailed pricing.
Okay.
Yeah. Is that what you mean, Natalie?
Yes. And maybe even like removing the quantity. Would I be able to do that as well?
Which one? This here?
Yeah.
Yes, right there.
Perfect. So then you just have the one cost there.
Yeah.
Got it.
And then one more thing you can do is you can have your client approve either the whole document or per line item. However, I understand maybe this can be a bit difficult if you have to install a floor and maybe the client decides not to take the padding. So what you can really do is you can go back to edit, and then you can approve this yourself. I'm just going to go back to preview and share. Yeah. So once it's done, you will just go ahead and click on share, and then it will be sent out to your client, and you will have it saved in your project. And yeah, that's pretty much it.
Perfect. We also show how we can book in a training call for the feature that you just showed us.
First, I wanted to actually show you how you can access the TakeOff from projects. I'm just going to go back to the dashboard, and I'm just going to go back into projects and recent projects. TakeOff. This is just the name for the presentation we're doing right now. And then if you go here to the left, you will see the TakeOff. And you will see the TakeOff will be saved as well. And you can always go back and work on it as many times as you need. Yeah. I'm going to click here to go back to the dashboard. And sorry. Yeah. If you ever need to reach out for support, obviously, even though what I show you was, I think, very quick and very easy, if you ever need help from us, we're very happy to book a one-to-one with you. And you can reach out to us just going here, support, and then submit a support ticket, and we aim to get back to you. Really, we aim to send out the first response within 15 minutes, and you should be able to book a one-to-one with us within the day, really. Yeah. So that's pretty much it for takeoffs and estimates.
Perfect. Thank you.
Of course.
Any questions? All good?
Everything was very clear. Thank you, Xavier.
Of course.
Perfect. All righty.
Yeah. I will continue with the slides. So now I have showed you TakeOff, and you have sort of discovered the power of it. So on a scale of 1 to 10, how confident are you to start using TakeOff by yourself?
Use that, no problem. 10.
Okay, great.
Well explained.
Yeah, so that really makes my next question a bit redundant. What would it take you for you to get to a 10? Well,
why would you say that you are a 10, Simon?
Yeah.
One of the reasons why, obviously, I was interested in your software before is because there is lots of sort of like tutorials around, as well as sort of like obviously yourselves doing these now and things as well. So there's lots of information that you can access, but it just seems to be a really user-focused, easy to use software.
Yeah.
Now, I have AutoCAD and some of the other programs, and I can get by using them, and I can do certain features that I'm trying to use. But when I'm trying to learn new features within them, it's sort of like really complicated. But yours just seems to be more user-friendly, user-focused.
And how would you think that this will change your way of working? You were saying that it sometimes take you 3 days to get the quotation ready. What do you think will, like, how would that free up time for you if you were to start using the TakeOff solution?
If we start, I'm just being able to use it on your software and produce reports off the software. So I'm not having to sort of like do it off a paper plan.
Yeah. And the second step in terms of needing a PA to draft it professionally, it will be all be done, right?
Yeah.
So you will reduce her work.
Yeah.
You will reduce your own work, and all of a sudden you have freed up 2 people's time.
Yeah.
Powerful. Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, next question is, how would using TakeOff to calculate material requirements improve your estimates?
I think it's far more accurate and easy to read as well.
Exactly, it's also a lot faster. And I mean, think about all the things you can do with the extra time. You can either take more time for yourself or really put more time and more effectively in your business. Yeah. And now the last question is, what happens if you don't evolve? Or more like, I think like Simon, you're very open to sort of evolving and with technology. So I think a better question is, what do you think will happen to your competition if they don't evolve?
Well, they're going to get left behind.
Exactly. Yeah. Eventually, if they don't embrace technology, they will become extinct.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's very powerful to know if you can free up 2 hours in your work week, and you were saying that this might even free up 2 days, right? Whenever you're doing the TakeOff. 2 hours a week over the course of a year is 6 weeks work time. That's an extra vacation, a really long vacation.
When I have 3 companies, so like the project, the construction, the building, and I also do project management. I look after about 200 apartments in and around South Manchester in the UK. And then
imagine how much time that is if you add it up. Yeah.
I mean, not personally, just myself. You know, I have guys doing it, but you know, that just frees up so much more time for us to do, you know, more interesting things.
Yeah.
So yeah, now we're almost at the end, and I would ask you to maybe share the takeaways from today.
What was your biggest takeaway?
My biggest takeaway for things like this is actually sort of like, and it applies to obviously sort of like this specifically, plus obviously sort of like, you know, unfortunately I've missed a couple, but you know, when getting involved, you know, I noticed sort of like, you know, there's lots of people on the list in some of the sort of like things, but there's quite a few people that just stay quiet and just listen. And I think I might have
that's okay.
overshone in this presentation.
No, not at all.
But you know, to try and sort of like get involved a bit and learn, and I think by doing that you take more away.
Yeah, very powerful awareness. The more I put in, the more I get out. Yeah.
Okay, thank you so much for sharing, Simon. And yeah, that's really it for me. Now, we would like to ask you how we can add more value for your business. And yeah, so I think Gabby, you're next.
Yes. So we have a very short but powerful information for us. 4-question survey. I just sent out the link in the chat. So please go ahead and click on it. And it literally takes 2 minutes, but it will let us know how you felt about this session, any subjects that you want us to run for the future sections. We have another workshop coming soon about how to organize yourself and how to be more effective in managing projects. So this one was about winning the job. The next one is going to be how to manage your time and your resources to be successful while running that job.
Okay, thank you.
Yes. Great. Thank you so much for today. I hope to see you next week on Thursday. Next week, we're actually going to change the time. It's going to be at 11 a.m. So we're going to try that out as well. And yeah, enjoy playing around with the TakeOff solution.
Thank you.
Lovely to
Thank
see
you.
you.
So much.
Bye.
Bye.